Hi, 8th grade. I just want to give you a quick tutorial for Friday's integrated science simulation on tectonic forces. So in the Google Classroom, you will find this document, and it says, for directions, use the simulation to complete the data table and define the important vocabulary. In this column, you will see either tectonic activity. Tectonic activity just means things that are happening on the planet due to the tectonic plates moving about. Or geologic features, meaning these features are formed due to the tectonic activity or due to the fact that the continents are moving around. Then you're given the 5 different types of boundaries, so where the two plates meet. So I told you yesterday that the Earth is divided into these plates now. After we've approved continental drift, now we're looking at these different plates, which is kind of like just big chunks of the Earth's crust. And where they meet are called boundaries, and those boundaries can behave differently. And there's 5 types: divergent, convergent with an ocean and a continental crust, convergent between 2 pieces of continental crust, convergent between 2 pieces of ocean crust, and then a transform boundary. So in the tectonic forces activity, you're going to explore what happens at each of those boundaries. The first thing you'll need to do is choose a type of boundary here at the top, and then what do you know? It highlights all those divergent boundaries, and it shows you which way the plates are moving. So you can see in a divergent boundary, the 2 plates are moving away. They're diverging. That's what diverging means, to split. And then you can kind of see by clicking on these things, does it happen at those boundaries? So when I click on shallow focus earthquakes, I see all these yellow dots appear, and I'm noticing that the yellow dots appear on the orange lines. So then I can say, yes, shallow focus earthquakes occur at divergent boundaries. So on my document, I can just put like some sort of like check mark or a yes. And then I come back over here and I can keep going. Intermediate to deep focus earthquakes. So if I look closely at the map now, I do not see these blue dots, which are showing up for these deep earthquakes. I don't see those on the orange lines. So I'm not going to do anything on my document. I'm going to leave it blank because those are not occurring there. You can write in no if that makes you feel better. You can use check marks in the symbols, the font symbol thing on Google Docs. And then I check volcanoes, and looking around, I do see some volcanoes over here. I see some volcanoes up here. I can uncheck these if it makes me feel better. And I do see them on the divergent boundaries somewhere. So I'm going to leave those. I'm going to leave volcanoes, and I'm going to put my shallow earthquakes back because those are definitely there. And then I can come down here, and I'm going to start clicking on geologic features to see if they happen. So I'm going to hit rift zones, and you got to look really close if you probably just missed it. I'll unclick it, and then I want you to watch right here because that's where it shows up. You see these yellow lines appear. Rift zones occur at divergent boundaries. Then I'm going to click the next one. Oh, and now I have this correct box that pops up. It tells me that I've checked everything off that's accurate and I have all of the correct information. And I can roll over the legend to see what's going on at that spot. So here, it tells me what a mid-ocean ridge is. Over here, it's going to tell me what a rift zone is. Those are both places where divergent boundaries, or both are things that occur at divergent boundaries. And if I click out of all this and I can now move on to another type of boundary, it'll highlight where that is. You go through that same exact process. You go through checking off whether or not it occurred in this document for each type. When you're done going through all that and kind of getting introduced to all of these words, you can also read through the background for definitions of these words, because I do ask that you scroll to the second page and please define all of these vocabulary words that apply to plate tectonics. These words should be able to either be inferred or figured out from this simulation. If for some reason you cannot find it and you need to go to another site, that's fine, but like, don't give me those weird wordy dictionary.com definitions. Make it in 8th grade terms that you can understand so that you know what the word actually means. Don't just copy and paste it from something and then not learn the word. That's not helpful. Hopefully this little tutorial makes it easier for you to do this activity. Next week, we will dive into these questions. We'll have a discussion looking at the answers to these questions, probably in a slideshow or something. Okay, have fun with this one. Again, some of my favorite content here that I have to do virtually with you. Makes me sad. I miss you guys. All right, let me clear out this document so that you don't get it with the answers in it. Have a wonderful day, 8th grade, and a wonderful weekend.